QFC closing two of its Seattle locations, citing in part the city's new hazard pay mandate. Q13's Brandy Cruz joining us live. And Brandy, some city leaders questioning whether QFC is trying to make a political statement here.
Yeah, Bill, good morning to you. The reason that they're questioning that, these two locations, one on Capitol Hill, one in the Wedgwood neighborhood of the Seattle, by QFC's own admission, these are underperforming locations. They say, though, that it is that $4 per hour hazard pay mandate that simply made it unrealistic to continue to keep these stores open, both of them scheduled to close in April. So here to talk about the decision is Tiffany Sanders, QFC Corporate Affairs Manager. Tiffany, good morning to you.
Good morning, Brandy.
So let's get right to that question. I'm going to read you the statement that the mayor's office put out. They basically say Kroger has made money hand over fist during the pandemic. They went on to say it is unfortunate that Kroger chose to accelerate closure of stores they had already planned to close and then blame it on the need to pay the very workers who brought them these huge revenues. What do you say to that?
Well, I find that very interesting. So I will tell you that, yes, these two stores were struggling financially, but we had plans in place to try to combat that. We had ideas that we were going to try out, maybe like closing a deli or maybe cutting some hours and trying to balance the budget at these two stores. But if you read the ordinance that the Seattle City Council has passed, it prohibits that. It does not allow us to cut any hours, does not allow us to make changes at these stores so that we can survive. So unfortunately for these two stores that were already struggling, the city council's decision really just pushed it over the edge.
So it was by no means a foregone conclusion that these two locations would close.
We were not discussing closure of these two stores for the past year. They were struggling during the pandemic, but we had plans in place to try out some new options to help these stores survive.
Talk about what happens to the workers. Not a time when we want to see more people out of a job. So what's going to happen to your employees at these two locations come April?
Yeah, you know, these associates are the victims here, and it's devastating. These stores, QFCs, are community grocery stores. They're in neighborhoods, and many of the workers in these stores, as well as all of our QFC stores, have been there for years. It's not unusual to talk to a cashier that's been there 25 years and has really made this a career. So this is devastating. We are going to work with the associates in these stores. We are going to try to find transfers to other locations if that's possible. But, you know, I'm not going to, no holds barred. It's going to be difficult. QFC, if you recall back in March when the pandemic hit, we started hiring. We were one of the few businesses in the area, in Seattle even, that was hiring. As restaurants and hotels were laying off or furloughing people, we were welcoming those workers and we were putting them to work with benefits, part-time employees that got benefits. So we've really been dedicated to these communities of trying to provide jobs and trying to provide benefits for families that work at our stores.
And look, you know, business is business. You know, if you guys aren't making money at stores, nobody's expecting you to open in the name of charity. But at the same time, it is true that grocery stores, by and large, have done well during the pandemic. It is a necessity for folks. Could you not have used profits to prop up these two stores, at least to make it through the pandemic?
Brandy, that's a great point. We have. So we have spent $1.5 billion with a B dollars in our stores, both investing and rewarding our associates, as well as instituting safety precautions in our stores so that both our associates and our customers remain safe. I really take umbrage with the council calling this hazard pay. Our stores are not hazardous. We track well below the state average for COVID cases. For grocery workers, if you go on the state's Department of Health website, you'll see that it's about 3% for grocery workers. It's well higher than that for government workers that are catching COVID. So our stores are not hazardous. We would not operate stores that are hazardous. And I would hope the Seattle City Council would not allow stores to be in business that are hazardous. So we have invested those profits back into the stores with plexiglass barriers, with a fresh mask and gloves for every single associate at the start of every single shift. We've put, social distancing decals on the floor. We've hired people to wipe down carts. You'll remember that we've got store capacity limits. We've had to hire people to count customers coming in and out. The money has gone back into our stores. So really, it's been expensive to operate during the pandemic. Yes, money has been coming in, but it's going right back out as expenses continue to skyrocket for our grocery stores.
All right, Tiffany, we've got about 20 seconds here. I guess your parting message to city leadership.
Well, I'll tell you, I appreciate the care and concern that city leadership has for our workers. If you truly care for them, get them the vaccine. That is what we're asking. I have been advocating for weeks now, asking them to move our grocery workers up in the phases, get them the vaccine. This $4 is not going to make them safer. Getting them the vaccine will make them safer.
All right, no one can argue with that. Tiffany Sanders, Corporate Affairs Manager for QFC. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you, Brandy.
Bill, over to you.